This is the Felder FAT or FAT 300S. And as you can see, it is the perfect height workbench for furniture making. I ordered this in January of 2020 and I paid with tax $2,700 out the door for this thing. Quite the investment. This is probably, other than my trailer, this is the one of the single most expensive purchases I've made as a woodworker. Now, altogether, I've made some pretty large purchases, but this was probably the biggest single tool outside of my trailer that I've bought. As you saw from the intro, there's a reason why I think this thing was worth the investment. I now work alone in my shop. I have this very large, solid piece of furniture that I have to move around. I have to sand right here. I've got to sand down here. So being able to have it from this height all the way up to that height is huge. Let me tell you exactly what that is. 455 millimeters. So let me find our freedom units and get that. And I know someone's already triggered by that, but that's exactly why I say that. It's because it triggers your poor sensitive soul. So in freedom units, we're at 18 inches to the bottom of my unit here. It's actually 18 7/8, and then I added my own 3/4 inch or 18 millimeter worktop. So I'm at, looks like 17 3/16 is as low as it goes. So 17 3/16 off the ground is as low as it goes. And then let's jack it up and see how high it goes. So this version has a foot pedal on each side. There's 3 versions of this. There's the FAT 300, which is a slightly smaller table. I think it's about to here and a little bit narrower, and it has a foot pedal on one side. This is the S version, which is wider and longer, and then has this larger foot pedal on both sides. The capacity of both 300s is the same at 300 kilograms, which is roughly 600 pounds. There's also the FAT 500, which does 500 kilograms or roughly 1,000 pounds. I really wanted that one, but the price difference was pretty extreme. I don't remember what that price difference was, but I couldn't justify paying what I think was another $1,500 more for the extra capacity whenever realistically 600 pounds is more than enough for anything I'm going to build. It's the same footprint as this one does. So to lift it up, you can see that, so we're at, I'm just going to call it 18 right now. Actually, let me just get it to 18. So you can fine tune this thing and kind of push slow. Okay, so I'm exactly 18 inches now. So that's one thing. So you can match this with an outfeed table. You can match it with my other workbenches. You've seen in other videos how I made kind of an L-shaped workbench. You can do a long workbench. You can match it, and it holds the height very well. So I can leave this for a few days, and it's not going to move. So a full pump, so we're 18 inches right now. A full pump all the way down is about 7/16 of an inch. So let's do this in real time and see how high it goes. Okay, I'm getting close to my standard 34.5 inch height workbench height, so let me check that. I'm at, nope, I'm only at 31.5 right now, so I hardly ever measure this like this, so I'm at 34 now, so one more full pump should do it. Okay, interesting. Once you get higher up, your pumps become more. So that was a 3/4 inch lift right there. It's hard to fine tune it going down. So you'll see if I push down, it went about an inch just right there pushing down. Yeah, so I'm at 33.5 right now. But it's quite easy to fine tune it going up. We want 34.5 right there. So I got that at exactly 34.5. And then if we go all the way up, there we go. You heard it hit right there. So that maxes it out at 41 3/4. So 41 3/4 inches. And just in case you are overseas, 1,060 millimeters. That's your height. So a huge range. And that makes it so easy for things like this of, hey, I need to work on this trim detail, or I need to fine tune a profile right here. I can get right here at it versus either having to bend down or stretch really high. Again, lowering it down is a lot faster, and I'll show you one thing that's kind of that I dislike about it right now. So I'm lowering it down to about working height. This is kind of, you know, I can reach here, I can reach here. This is about where I was standing earlier. But watch what happens when I pump this and just let go. So I went all the way down, pumped it up. You'll notice that bounce back actually lowered it down a little bit. Maybe that's a calibration issue. Maybe there's some air in the line that does that. Maybe that's just how it is. I don't really know. I haven't been able to find anything in the manual that addresses that issue. I think it's just this is a pretty large foot pedal and it's got a lot of mass on it. So this guy has 4 locking casters on it, but they lock in different ways, which took me a while to figure out. I thought 2 of them were broken until, you know, I looked at what I got. So this guy on the back right here, these go anyway and they're full locking. That means if I lock them right here, it's not going to move right or left, and it's not going to go forward or back. Over here on the front side, or what I'm calling the front, these casters only lock in a direction, or in line. So it locks parallel with this. That way you steer with 2 wheels, not 4 wheels. Or you can steer with all 4 wheels, which has its pros and cons. It's weird that they point different directions. See how this one points this way, and then this one over here points the other way? That's how they lock, and those are the only directions that those lock in. I don't know if it just was installed backwards from the factory or if it's on purpose. I'll probably flip it because it kind of makes pivoting around an axis a little wonky because the wheels aren't in parallel with each other. I haven't gotten around to change it yet. You can see once I lock down both of these, it's pretty solid. You're not going to want to do a lot of hand work on this thing because you can see that it's got a lot of wiggle in it. But that's the trade-off, right? Of you got the height versus this. And then, of course, I used a UV ply top. I made this myself with the UJK Parf Guide system. Made my own 20mm top for it and just bolted it down. That dimension. I'm 58 inches long and 32 inches wide. And I've got about 3/4 inches of overhang going around. All right, so would I buy this again? For me, absolutely. I'm fat and out of shape. Okay, let's just call it like it is. But this saves my back. About a year ago, I was moving some really heavy tabletops by myself. I strained my back and spent about a week in bed. That was kind of a wake-up call to me, for one, that I'm not as tough as I used to be, and old boss of mine who didn't really like, but he said this and it's true, that John Wayne was tough, but John Wayne is dead. So being tough, not always the way to go about life, right? So for me, working in the shop, Especially working alone, this is absolutely worth the investment. If you've got somebody working in the shop all the time with you, not really, because you've got two people that can move around something that weighs, 300 or 400 pounds. You can slide it around. That's what we did, and that's fine. But for working alone, especially if you're doing furniture making like I am, this piece all said and done, when it's done, might weigh 300 pounds. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't have a scale. But might weigh 300 pounds when it's all done. I can lower it down to get it on a dolly and have it over to the corner, or I can raise it back up to help load in the bed of a truck or load on a trailer, and I can go anywhere in between. And when I'm ready to slide it to another workbench, I can get it to the height, slide it over to another workbench. It makes moving things around my shop much easier, and it's Felder, so you're getting a good quality. Now, I bought a Harbor Freight motorcycle engine lift or something like that, or a platform table, and it was okay, but it definitely had the Harbor Freight quality to it, because I thought, like, oh, I'll just buy the Harbor Freight one and modify it to be this. No, that's not how that worked at all. It was not ideal. Let's just call it. That was not an ideal solution. I thought I could rig up something to make it work, but it didn't. So for me, this was worth it, and I would buy it again for the energy savings alone, the comfort of working always at the right height, and that is huge. You don't realize it until, oh, I need to detail out this cubby, or I need to detail out this drawer box. I'm going to put that at eye level, right? So I can get in here with my tools, fine-tune this at eye level, or, oh, that's kind of a reach. I don't want to reach like that. So let me just lower it down so I can reach in from the top. That's huge, and that alone makes it worth it for me. This is really kind of a glorified assembly table, and that's really what I use it for. Is I use it for assembly and then final fitment of things, especially when it gets together, and that kind of is the hub of my shop. Of everything in my shop orbits around that. That's it for this. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. Let me know in the comments what questions you have, and I will try to answer them. I really do try to answer every comment. That's not spam, obviously. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.